Something a bit different today. We're going to do a reasonably sized service on a Renault Clio Mk3 1.5 DCI 2011. So we're going to do an oil change, a filter change, oil filter change, cabin filter, air filter, and that should do. I'm not going to try the fuel filter at the minute because it works really well. So I'm not going to tempt fate with that one just yet. And it's too nice not to be in the garden and have a beer later on. So I'm going to give that a go. Slight problem with it though is I want to do a top extraction. Considering I've never done this car before, I've only just bought it, I really think I should just clear out all of the gunk in the oil sump by doing a bottom extraction. Which means of course I've got to get underneath it. So I've put it up on ramps, put it on chocks, the rear, and there's an under tray. Now, I'm geared for Land Rovers, and as some of you may know, lawnmowers as well. So I've had to retool, and I haven't got all the tools I needed, so I've got to raid some Fisher Price kit that I used to have when I was younger and didn't know any better. So that there, hopefully, will help me get the under tray off. This is a new purchase, because I never needed one of these before. Apparently you need the 8mm end with a square drive. And a 20mm ring spanner to go around it. Right, wish me luck. Because I've never done this before, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to just see if I can get the under tray off, see if the bolt can loosen first. If it can, then I'm going to add the engine flush and then drop the oil into a pan, but not do that before I've got the pan off. Well, in the meantime, chin chin. There appears to be a water leak under here, but I've just topped up the washer fluid, and that is washer fluid. It's the right colour and it smells like it. So not overly worried at this stage about that. Meantime, I need to take these bolts, and that one looks like it might be a Torx. So I've climbed under here without Torx. But there's these as well. Oh, they're the 10mm. So I'll have a go at those. I'll let you know how I get on. Getting those bolts off was a bit complicated. They seem to be rusted and a bit rounded off, but a 12-sided socket did the job, 10mm. So now, I don't know if you can see it very clearly. Where is it? This is sump. There's the sump. That's that 8mm square drive. So I'm just going to crack that very gently to make sure it comes off, and then I'm going to put it back in and tighten it up, and then put the flush in. Sorry, I'm a bit cramped under here. In this case, it was a 21mm. 21mm spanner. Put that on there. Obviously, you'd use two hands, and then no, actually, it was the easiest one of the lot. So I'm just going to leave that nipped up while I do the flush. I'm in no way affiliated with any of these brands, so it's just the one that I got first. So take the that's safe. And here's one I prepared earlier. I thought I did anyway. In goes the flush. Lid back on and start the having made sure the car wasn't in gear, it was in neutral when I started. I'm now going to make a cup of tea. I must have done something right, because my wife has presented me with a, well, there's only one word for it, wedge of Bakewell. Lovely. So 15 minutes is gone. I just want to loosen the filter for a bit before I take the drain plug off. So I'll pull that air filter. That comes off of there, I think. Yeah, so move that, keep it safe. Then the oil filter is there. As you can see, it's a bit sunny. You'll see it a bit better in a minute. So this is some sort of vacuum pipe thing. So it just rests on that there, so I just use that hand. You can see it very clearly. Just lifts up and tucked out the way. And now I can get to the filter. See if it's loose, finger tight. No such luck, so I'm going to have to use my special tool. Bear with. It was a bit of a pain, but I did manage to get it off using that tool there, which sort of grips around it, and you use the socket to twist it, and it closes down and rotates. So that's, oh bloody hell. Oh dear. Yes, and by the way, they're full of oil. Oops. So, draining out all the oil, let that drip out, and just, I suppose, make another cup of tea. We'll do the other filters. So that's still draining a little bit. I've cleaned up that dipstick with a little bit of brake cleaner, some elbow grease, so it should be a bit more useful to read. The new filter's got a plastic case on it, so I'm not going to forget to take that off. I'm going to run a little bit of oil around the gasket, and then I'm going to screw it on. Now you screw it on until it's finger tight, and then 3/4. So I'm just going to do that. It's a bit awkward to show you. So I'm just going to do it, and just to take my word for it. The service volume for this car is 4.5 litres. I've put the brand new sump plug with copper washer in and nipped that up. I've left the container there just in case. The new filter's in, and I've poured half a litre of that 5 litre away. Well, not away, I put it into a jug. So I'm just going to pour all of that into there. Need 2 hands for that. Okay, so put the cap back on. Spilt some of the oil when I was pouring because it backfilled, because it's a very, very narrow filling chamber there. So you've got to pour it really, really slowly, otherwise it does that and drips all over your engine. I am going to explain to my wife that the car will smell a little bit oily for some time. Never mind. So I'm going to start the car, but before I do that, I'm just going to change the air filter because I need to put this back on. So the air filter is a clip here, and what would normally be a clip here, but someone's broken that, so it's a screw. So you take those off, lift this out, and the cartridge is in there. So that comes off, that comes down and lifts out. Yuck. Not sure when that was last changed. Right, so in the bin with that, and yes, clear all that out. Okay, so one good vacuuming later, that's pretty much clear. That's gone in, new one's gone in there, pushed down around the sides, goes back in like so. So those bits in, and then it pushes up. Ta-da! Put the cover back on. Okay, this pipe goes on same way it came off, except what I'm going to do is I'm going to fit this into its hole there first. Ooh, don't know if that worked. And then the other end will just go on there. Right, again, 2 hands needed. Right, the car's still up in the air, but what I'm going to do is just switch the ignition on to start with. See if there's any warning light about oil level. Oh, said oil level correct. What was that? Blah, 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 blah. That's my stats. Okay, well, fingers crossed, so it's in neutral. I'll just double check that, because why wouldn't you? Right, okay. See what happens. Well, we can blow up. I'll let that run for a minute or two and check for leaks. If I find any. Got to the bottom of the water coolant, the washer leak. The neck of that bottle is slightly loose, slight gap against the main body. So provided it doesn't exceed the main body, it's fine. You fill it up to the top here, it's going to leak out that joint. So one problem at a time, and that's not today's. I'm doing this one because I'm not the most nimble of people. But up there is the cabin filter. So I'm just going to have a go, see if I can get it loose. I have to move that loom out of the way, I hope. And I'll have a go. I never thought I'd say this, but I miss working on the Land Rover. That thing comes out, I've got no idea. I'm guessing that tab there is a pull tab, and that tab at the bottom pushes down. Well, somehow, I'm trying all of that and it's not working. Time to have another go. It's getting to the point where I'm considering hitting it with a hammer. Okay, hallelujah. I prized it off with a screwdriver, thinking it was a clip, and it's not a, well, it is and it isn't. Right, so I'm going to pull that out and shove the new one in. I have absolutely no idea when that was last changed, but it must have been pretty dirty where it's been travelling. And voila, done. And that's the end of this service. Just put that piece of trim back in. Fortunately, I didn't break the cap off, or whatever, the connector off. So I'll put that back in, and I might go and have a beer. Thanks.